Hey, it's Emily and this is my entire TBR. So it's been a year since I filmed this last time and I have to say my TBR hasn't gone down by much. I have read lots, but I've also hauled lots. So I thought about time I did it again just to show everyone my entire TBR, all the books that I have not read. And there's quite a few. I think last time I checked it was 328. So quite a few. I am technically on a book buying ban now, however, as you'll see at the end, I have hauled some since filming this. So my book buying ban's not going too well, but the majority of the books I have on these bookcases are unread. Just because I'm only living in this place for a year, most of my read books are back at my parents' house until I find a more permanent living situation. But yeah, so I thought I'd just go through all my unread books very briefly. I don't talk about them, don't worry. Otherwise we'd be here for a very long time. It also is kind of like a tour of my bookshelves in a way, because I talk about very briefly what's on each shelf. Also, this is my new favourite t-shirt, just saying. So with that, let's jump on into my entire TBR. So this is my historical fiction shelf, so I'll just go through which ones I have and which ones I haven't read. So out of the Poldark series, I still have to read The Angry Tide, The Stranger from the Sea, The Miller's Dance, The Loving Cup, The Twisted Sword and Bella Poldark. Oh, all of which are by Winston Graham, I forgot to say. And then out of my Story collection, hang on, let's do that. I haven't read Anne Boleyn, no, I have read, no, I think I have read Anne Boleyn and Me actually. The Bloody Tower, The Great Plague, Mill Girl, Suffragette, The Trenches, Nowhere to Hide and Wartime Princess. And then out of The Last Kingdom series, I still have to read The Pale Horse and The Lords of the North. I've only read the first one, which is The Last Kingdom. Then we have Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. And then we have When the World Was Ours, which I met Liz Kessler last summer at the ABAs and got it signed. And then the final one on this shelf that I haven't read yet is The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. I think this is the teen edition though. Then below, this is all my unread thriller. There's 2 shelves of like thriller and mysteries. So we'll go through them. So all of these I haven't read, but yeah, I'll still go through them. Ace of Spades, I Confess, which I got from Jess when she did a book subscription box. The Wintringham Mystery, The Da Vinci Code, The Sussex Downs Murder, which I have DNF'd before, but I want to give another chance. The Old Woman with the Knife, which is one that I have hauled very recently. Twisted, and The Devil's Advocate by Steve Kavanagh. Follow Me Back with Malice, which is another one from Jess's subscription boxes, or book boxes, I don't think they were actually a subscription. Finlay Donovan is Killing It, Plain Bad Heroines, Girl A, Mortman Hall, The Boy Band Murder Mystery, which has been on my TBR for years, Old Friends, which I know nothing about but was £1 in the works, The Mitford Murders, Sleeper by J.D. Fennell, which is another one that I got signed at the ABAs one year, Goldfinger, The Agathas, This Book Kills, which is an ARC I got at Yalc 2022, which I still haven't read, The Twyford Code, Haven't They Grown, The London Murder Mystery series, which I found in a charity shop. I think this is just books 1 to 3, I think there might be more. But The Montgomery Murders, The Deadly Fire and Murder on Stage. The Girl on the Train, which is quite possibly the longest book on my TBR that I've owned for the longest. The Talented Mr. Ripley, which is another one I hauled recently. Peril on the Atlantic and The Serial Killer's Wife. One more shelf of thrillers and mysteries. And then right at the bottom, we'll continue on with the thrillers and mysteries. The Girls by Lisa Jewell. You Love Me by Caroline Kepnes. True Crime Story. Someone We Know. If I Can't Have You, which I think is like the female version of You. Genuine Fraud. A Case of Spirits. The Bourne Identity, which has been on my TBR a very long time as well. Stalking Jack the Ripper, which is a tiny little mass market paperback size. Tokyo Express. The House on the Strand. The Chain. Nothing More to Tell, which is the last Karen M. McManus I have to read, I think. Oh, apart from One of Us Is Back. The Maidens, which after buying, I've now seen loads of reviews that aren't great, but hey ho, we'll give it a go. 5 Little Liars. Suddenly a Murder, you can see that I got it from the works. Where the Crawdads Sing, which my friend gave me when I left my job. Invisible by James Patterson, which Connor said was one of his favourite James Patterson books, I guess, and David Ellis. So when I saw it in a charity shop, I picked it up. 13 Minutes, Are You Watching, which my brother gave me. Killers of a Certain Age, The Secret Detectives, which I love the foiling of. Survive the Night, The Blinds, which I really want to read soon. It sounds really good. See How They Lie, which has been on my TBR since 2017. The Three Dahlias, which I bought the other day. The Truants, another one that's been on my shelves a long time. Hydra and Deity, which are books 2 and 5 in the 6 stories series. Sorry. We have The Village of 8 Graves and The Devil's Flute Murders, which are in the Kozuki Kondaichi detective series. And finally, on my thriller mystery shelf, 6-4, which is chunky. Then we have my Agatha Christie shelf, which is 3 shelves, and there's quite a lot of these that I haven't read, but I wanted to collect all of these in the old covers before they were impossible to find, so I bought them all even though I haven't read them all. So at the top here we have all the Poirot books apart from Poirot's early cases, which I'm still looking for. Murder on the Links, Poirot Investigates, Black Coffee, Cards on the Table, Murder in the Mews, Dumb Witness, 1-2 Buckle My Shoe, The Hollow, The Labours of Hercules, Taken at the Flood, After the Funeral, Hickory Dickory Dock, Dead Man's Folly, Cat Among the Pigeons, The Adventures of the Christmas Pudding, The Clocks, Third Girl, Elephants Can Remember, and finally Curtain, which I'm going to read last out of all of them. I'm saving that one to the end. And then on the shelf below we have my Miss Marple books. These are the new covers. I got them all from Books to Door. Like the full box set cost me like 50 quid, so I did it. I've only read the first 2. So we have The Moving Finger, Sleeping Murder, A Murder is Announced, They Do It with Mirrors, A Pocket Full of Rye, 450 from Paddington, The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side, A Caribbean Mystery, At Bertram's Hotel, Nemesis, The 13 Problems, and Miss Marple's Final Cases. And then on the other side, these I won't talk about because they're just like special editions I guess I found in the charity shop. We have like the standalones, and then a couple Tommy Tuppence, and then just a couple extra Poirot ones that don't match the others, and then my Mary Westmacott book. Why Didn't They Ask Evans? I've read The Witness for the Prosecution, but I haven't read the other stories in this yet. The Secret Adversary, and that's it for the shelf. I've read the others. Then down on the bottom, on this side we have all the hardbacks I have. So on my TBR I have The Christie Affair, The Mousetrap 70th edition, 450 from Paddington, Autumn Chills, Midwinter Murder, Dead Man's Folly, Cards on the Table, Appointment with Death, and other plays. And then finally on the other side they're kind of Agatha Christie related paperbacks, although this one is actually by her, but it was non-fiction, so I put it down here with the other non-fiction. So on my TBR, Come Tell Me How You Live, Poirot and Me, Murder Isn't Easy, The Monogram Murders, and finally Closed Casket, because I've read the other 2. This might be a bit shaky because we're now at the top of my very tall bookcases, but I have read books 1 to 9, so on my TBR is Russian Roulette, Never Say Die, Secret Weapon, and Nightshade. I've recently started reading Divergent for the first time, so I've read the first 2, and on my TBR is Allegiant and 4. And then out of these Sherlock books, I've only read A Study in Scarlet, so The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, The Hound of the Baskervilles, and The Return of Sherlock Holmes are all on my TBR. This shelf I kind of count as my children's classics, just children's middle grade bookshelf. So on my TBR, The Wizard of Oz, A Little Princess, The Extraordinary Cases of Sherlock Holmes, The Wind in the Willows, The Call of the Wild, Black Beauty, Flower Babies, The Family from One End Street, A Wrinkle in Time, The Voyages of Dr. Dolittle, Annie, The Borrowers, The Country Child, Tarka the Otter, The Trumpet of the Swan, and that's it for that shelf. So then we have a few more middle grade, so I have my Mad Race and Ladylike, Leading Into Ali Carter, my favourite romance series, and then just a couple of other books and into more classics, I guess. So on my TBR, A Spoonful of Murder, Death in the Spotlight, Top Marks for Murder, Cream Buns and Crime, and Once Upon a Crime. Then we come along to this corner. I've only read one play, which is Lady Windermere's Fan. Inferno, I think it's part 1 of the Divine Comedy by Dante. The Happy Prince and Other Stories. And finally, Wildina, which is just quotes from Oscar Wilde. So now on to another kind of favourite author shelf. I have all my Patrick Ness books, and then a couple more horror-y books on this side, just along here. So out of my Patrick Ness books, I've read them all apart from The Crush of Hennington and The Crane Wife. Out of this little horror-y section, let's just move my fake cactus. Bunny, The Company of Ghosts, Salem's Lot, The Birds and Other Stories, Mina and the Undead, and the only other one I haven't read is Fever Dream. Then down to this shelf, all these books I've read, all of these I haven't, so let's go through My Little Rainbow. Odd One Out, Clara and the Sun, Felix Ever After, With the Fire on High, Who is Maud Dixon, Consumed, By Any Other Name, A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, The Song of Seven, Burn for Burn, The Love Square, The Goldsmith and the Master Thief, The Road Trip, Always with Love, You're the One That I Want, Big Boned, The Beach, and finally Honey and Issue's Guide to Fake Dating. Then we go down a shelf. I've read all of these. The only ones I haven't read are right at the end. So on my TBR, The Lost World, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, and The Golem and the Genie. And then this tall shelf here is all my unread contemporary romance, and then down into fantasy sci-fi. So I'll try not to shake too much at the top. It's ordered by author's surname. So we have The Shelf, The Spanish Love Deception, Beartown, My Grandmother Sends Her Regards and Apologies, The Handover, Alex Approximately, Night Owls, Stranger, The Secret Bridesmaid, It Only Happens in the Movies, Are We All Lemmings and Snowflakes, The Places I've Cried in Public, The Yearbook, The Paris Connection, All Fall Down, Bloodstream, Falling Hard for the Royal Guard, and Stay Another Day. On to the next shelf down, The Secret Sunshine Project, At Night All Blood is Black, Bridget Jones, The Edge of Reason, My Life Next Door, Dream a Little Dream, Olive, Until I Met You, Noah Can't Even and Noah Could Never, Alice in Wonderland, Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry, The Red House, The Love Hypothesis, Book Lovers, It Ends With Us, Before I Saw You, and finally Never Let Me Go. On to the next one below, which should be the last, literally the last shaky shelf. The Henna Wars, The Last Act of Adam Campbell, Snow Country, Before Your Memory Fades, I Heart New York, Wedding Night, 5 Feet Apart, Every Day, A Very Large Expanse of Sea, Take Me Home Tonight, Sunshine with a Chance of Snow, Truly Wildly Deeply, The Sailor Who Fell from Grace with the Sea, Open Water, The Sky is Everywhere, The Keeper of Stories, The Dead Romantics, The Paper and Heart Society, The Kissing Booth 3 One Last Time, Songs About a Girl, Extraordinary Means, and Our Chemical Hearts. The next one, on the come up, Concrete Rose, The Hating Game, The Financial Lives of the Poets, Truly Madly Like Me, The Art of Being Normal, Days at the Morisaki Bookshop, and Super Fake Love Song by David Yoon. Now on to fantasy, Because You Love to Hate Me, oh, and sci-fi. Chasing the Stars, Oddity, Ready Player One, The Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell, The Hunger Games, Norse Mythology, The Lie Tree, Unraveller, which is an arc, and Payback's a Witch. Then the last one of the paperbacks, The Girl in Red, Time Stops for No Mouse and The Sands of Time. These are from one of my favourite series as a child, and I now want to reread them all. So This Is Love, Frostheart, Sabriel, A Darker Shade of Magic, The Ghosts of Heaven, which has been on my TBR for years. Like, I think I've tried to read it like 4 times. They Both Die at the End, The X-Hex, Fated, Dark Blue Rising, The Martian, The Shadow of the Wind, and I Am the Messenger, although I'm pretty sure this might actually be a thriller instead. And then on top I just have Beyond the Tape, which I'm currently borrowing from a friend that I need to read. There's a couple paperbacks on the shelf below, which I'll just, well, there's one, so I'll quickly just mention that, and that is The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. And then right at the bottom of both shelves we have my hardbacks, so I'll just go through them now. So this is a mix of read and unread. So on my TBR, The Last Word, Flawed, The Divorcees, Masters of Death, Once Upon a Crime, Eve of Man, The Eve Illusion, The Couple at the Table, Yellowface, Notes on an Execution, The Lock-In, Ship It, let's sort that out, there you go, The Murder Rule, The Cat Who Saved Books, Pride and Premeditation, and then on this side, let's move these, Better Together, Bridge of Clay, then I have my 2 or 3 crime puzzle books. That was Gaston Leroux, The Phantom of the Opera, and then these 2 I am currently borrowing from a friend, so The Woman in the Library and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. So that's it on my shelves. So like I mentioned at the beginning, I have a couple more that I'm going to mention that I have hauled since filming the bookshelves. First one I literally bought yesterday, well most of these I bought yesterday. Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh, this doorstop of a book. I won't talk about this too much because I will do a proper haul at the end of the month. Lolita, 1984, this beautiful 6-book collection of the Sherlock Holmes series, and then 2 more books that I'm in the middle of reading, which technically are on my TBR, I haven't finished reading them yet, and that is Oscar Wilde's Complete Poetry and Good Girls Die First, which I kind of put down. I've only read 1 chapter, but those are the 2 that are still kind of on my TBR. So with that, I think that wraps up this video. Oh, there's a couple more. I still have some Horrible Histories books back at my parents', and also I have the series Unfortunate Events. I only ever got to book 5 and I have the whole series. So I guess the rest of that series is also on my TBR. But apart from that, that's literally every book. Oh no! I just realised I missed off my entire non-fiction shelf. So I'll go through these very quickly. I actually have read more of my non-fiction shelf than I actually thought. So we'll go through them very quickly because there's only, what, 7 books here. We have I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, The Gender Games by Juno Dawson, Dancing with the Octopus, The Killer Across the Table, The Secret of Station X, From Yellow Star to Pop Star, and then finally Called Midwife, which I guess I started years and years ago, must be like 15, but only got to page 9. I think I only read the introduction. But that is every single book that I have not read on my TBR. So yes, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and subscribe if you're new around here, and I look forward to seeing you with a brand new video very soon. Bye!